and he brought a lot of excitement to the heavyweight division. What that man accomplished in a short amount of time with one fight is amazing, and yeah, I get it. It doesn't shock me, but I didn't know.
I know you're not a doctor or anything, but do you think the diverticulitis really affected him and shortened his what could have been a really great career?
I think it did before. I think what shortened him tonight was the kick to the body. A lot of people don't realize what that feels like. He said, I think my rib's broken. I don't know what a broken rib feels like, but if it hurts worse than this, I don't want to feel it. So.
Dana, just one for you. You know, after the heavyweight fight in Anaheim on Fox, you kind of criticized Cain Velasquez's game plan as far as coming in and not really shooting a takedown. Obviously, Brock is a wrestler. I think he shot like one takedown. What did you think of his game plan?
I have the same assessment. You know, you're in there with a striker, you don't stay in his range, and he was close at one time and like grabbed a single but didn't really commit to it and never went for the takedown. Yeah. Like I say, I'm not a trainer. I'm nobody's coach. I don't come up with game plans. I'm a fight fan just like anybody else, and yeah, I don't understand why he wouldn't shoot. At least take one shot, especially when you're getting kicked and hit. But, you know, who knows? When you're in there, he knows why he didn't. Cain knows why he didn't. I don't know. I would have.
Dana, just curious, your assessment of OVEREEM and what you can do to build on him, because he was a guy that you had questions about. Now that he's proven,
let me say in front of everybody here that I was wrong. You know, and I said it before Alistar came into the UFC, and I said it leading up to this fight to myself because I never give predictions. But I thought Brock Lesnar was going to beat Alistar OVEREEM tonight. I did, and I was wrong. And he looked damn good tonight. He made quick work of Brock Lesnar.
And when he pulled out of that single leg that Brock tried to pull, what went through your mind? I'm sure something went through Brock's mind, but what was your reaction?
Brock better try for a double. A double will be a better idea. You know, Brock's fast, he's explosive, he's powerful, and he's a great wrestler. I was shocked that he didn't shoot or try to take a double, but you know, he was on the outside of it. He was in OVEREEM's range getting picked apart with but I didn't see. I thought Brock threw a right hand and cut Alistar. I thought it was a straight right hand that cut him. Am I right? Yeah, so he hit him and cut him, and I don't know. I think it was weird because OVEREEM never even reacted to the cut. Never wiped it, never reacted to it, just kept coming forward, and I'll tell you, I'll give it to him. The fight with him and Junior Dos Santos is going to be very fun. Very interesting fight.
My question is for Donald. First of all, incredible fight. So I want to congratulate you on that. I just want to ask you, well, it was pretty obvious that you didn't want to go to the ground, but didn't you or your corner feel during the fight that you might want to change game plan? Because obviously he got the better of you in the boxing area. So why didn't you when you had him rocked?
I just want to stand. I want to play. And I got outboxed. And I talked a lot of shit, and the bigger, better dog showed up tonight. So my hat's off to some bitch, and it was a good fight. And I'll do it again. That's the one promise I can make. I'm going to fight to the end every time. Am I going to follow a game plan every time? Probably not. But, you know, I got to go back and get yelled at by my coaches and figure out what I did wrong and go after it again.
Anyway, it was an incredible fight.
Thank you.
Question for Donald. Donald, over here. A lot was made that this was your 5th fight in 2011. Did that play any factor tonight? Did you feel it, or did it play any factor in your camp?
No, I don't. A lot of people are saying that, like you took too many fights. No, I didn't. Sometimes you show up, sometimes you don't. I felt flat-footed. I'm not making any excuses. He went out there and was better than me, and that's just all there was to it. So, shit, I'll take 20 fights next year. I don't care. It's just this is what we do. We go out there and fight. Some days you show up, some days you don't. And, hey, man, like I said, the dude's a warrior.
Question for Dana.
Yep.
Over here.
Hi.
Hi. Could you give us your reaction to the Johnny Hendricks-John Fitch fight tonight?
Holy shit.
And where does John Fitch stand to you right now?
It was a quick fight. The thing about Hendricks is he's got great wrestling, world-class wrestling, and he hits hard. He's a tough guy to fight. And it was a big night for Johnny Hendricks. He was, I don't know how big of an underdog he was, but
Where does this put Johnny for you?
Puts him right in there, man. I mean, this guy just knocked out who many believe is, the number 2 guy in the world.
And a question for Nate. I'd just like to know who you'd like to face next.
The best person I could fight in the lightweight division, whoever they would like to give me, the highest ranked contender. That's what I'm after.
Okay.
I want to fight for the championships. I want to be the champion. I just want to fight, show the world I can fight the best fighters and be the best fighter. So that's what I'm after.
Question for Johnny, please. Johnny, like you said, going into this fight, you were telling everybody about the left hand, that you were going to deliver it. Was it something in Fitch's style that you saw that that was going to be open, or is it just confidence in what you've been developing?
No, just the media. The media said that I had no chance. They had said I had no chance, and I told them since it first started, I at least have a puncher's chance. Good Lord blessed me with the left hand, and I was going to put it on him, and that's what I told everybody. And about Wednesday, I told my camp, I'm going to hit him as hard as I can and see where he falls. And that's pretty much, after that, I was going to change my game plan to something else. But first, I just want to hit him as hard as I could. That's about it. See what happened. Because he's a tough fighter. I knew that it was going to be a 3-round war. That's what I trained for. That's what I prepared for. And good Lord bless me with the knockout. You know what I'm saying?
And right now, Johnny, obviously there's a lot of key matchups at 170. I mean, things are kind of tied up at the very top. But, where do you feel like you're at in your career? I mean, are you among those top contenders right now, or do you feel like you still got a couple steps to go?
I don't think I think I belong where I'm at now. You know what I mean? I just beat the number 2 ranked guy. GSP couldn't do it in 5 rounds. BJ Penn couldn't do it. Loved the guy to death. He couldn't do it. I just knocked the guy, number 2 ranked guy out in 12 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Where does that put me? Hopefully for a title. You know what I'm saying? But if it doesn't, I'm going to have to go out there and prove it again. You know what I'm saying? And that's about what Cerrone was saying. Step up whenever the opportunity is given to you. Take it with everything you got and lay everything out on the line, and good Lord willing, it'll happen.
If I could ask Alexander a question, please. Can you talk about how the fight was unfolding? It seemed like Matt Yashenko was having trouble dealing with your range and your length. Can you talk about how it unfolded?
Yeah, that was my game plan, my tactic. I just want to have it on because he's a strong guy and a lot of routine, a lot of fights, and been there a lot of years. So just want to keep my distance and use my reach.
And people are already starting to talk about you as a potential opponent for John Jones at some point because of your length and your power and your speed. Do you welcome that conversation, or is it too early for that?
I think it's too early for that. I just want to take one fight at a time and win my fights. And just want to climb the rankings.
And one final question for you. It sounds like the UFC is going to your home country in March. Is it a given that you'll be on that card?
Yeah, I really hope so. That would be awesome. Can't wait to that.
Question for Donald. Is there a reason you didn't try and kick Nate when you had him down so many times while he was down?
You mean kick a guy when he's down?
Well,
yeah. I wish I kicked more. I just got tied up in this boxing game with him, and that's not what I do. So he did a good job of taking me out of my game, and I was just, my mind was telling me one thing, and my body wasn't. I was just like, "Fuck, just get him," but I can't. I don't know. I just played boxing with him, and I got outboxed.
Your kicks were just so devastating.
You're telling me, and I didn't throw through maybe 2, so it sucked. But like I said, he fucking got in my head. I mean, it was good, and he brought the fight to me, and. Son of a bitch, man. All the shit I taught, he made me eat my words, didn't he?
Question for Dana. When was the last time you saw a heavyweight fight with so many knees?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you have any plan for Cain Velasquez? Where does he go from here?
Cain?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when he's ready to fight again, which I'm hoping is going to be within the next 10 days to be able to start training again. We'll figure that out.
Thank you.
Yep.
This question is for Nate. over here, straight ahead. It looked like you ate a lot of big shots in the fight, a lot of knees and a lot of kicks. What was it, or were you hurt at all in the fight?
He knocked me down with a couple of those leg kicks. I think I was lifting my front leg. He was kicking my back leg out pretty good, and I knew that was making me look bad. So I just tried to, get back up and do what I had to do. I knew he was tough, and he was going to stand there and keep fighting after a while, after I landed some really good shots. So nothing too devastating, but yeah, he hit me with some stuff. So I got socked in my eye one time. I couldn't see for a little bit, but besides that, I think I was all right most of the time.
And the question for Donald, can you talk about what it's like to fight a guy that keeps coming no matter what it is that you throw at him?
It's awesome. That's what I like to do. And so to have it done to me, that's what makes fights, right? I mean, son of a bitch, he was shitting and getting, and we were in there fighting, and that to me was fun. That was a good time. I mean, standing there and throwing, that's what everyone likes to see. So I'm glad I didn't quit. I'm glad he didn't quit, and shit, I don't know. What else more can you ask for us to do? I mean, I think I gave you everything I had, but to answer your question, yeah, it sucks when someone's just marching you down, yeah.
This is a question for Dana. What do you think about Alexander's performance tonight and future plans, and what do you think of him as a fighter overall?
He looked good. Matt Yushenko's a guy who I have a lot of respect for, and I usually call him the gatekeeper. When you beat Matt Yushenko, you're ready to step up to that next level and start taking some big fights. And he finished him.
Dana, when you just mentioned the thing about Cain, is he just did he have a knee injury, or is?
Yeah, his knee was bothering him, and he's supposed to get an MRI here pretty soon. Figure out if he's ready to start training hard again.
Okay, and on Brock, from a contractual standpoint, if he's done right now, is he free to go to the other place, or do you even know what your status would be on that?
I mean, when you retire, he retires under contract.
He's retired under contract.
Mm-hmm.
So how long is the contract? Are you going to?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No clue.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure. Listen, I've had I've had my moments with Brock Lesnar, but I've had a great relationship with him, and I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll no big deal. Never had a situation with a guy where, we haven't done the right thing.
Question for Cowboy. Cowboy, the Friday night bonus, you got to take a little of the sting out of it. How are you going to celebrate? Wakeboarding?
It's too cold to wakeboard right now, but damn, wish it was summertime. Now we're going snowboarding. I'm leaving for Vail tomorrow. I'm going up there for 14 days, so hopefully it snows a shitload while we're up there and I can hit the mountain.
Cool. And a question for Ross. Ross, your ground game, your defense looked great today. You've been training more on your ground game.
Everything, since moving out to Alliance in San Diego, training with some of the best guys in the world, I just want to get better everywhere. I've said it for a long time. I want to be the best I can be in this sport, and I'm going out to achieve it. And
And last question for Jimmy. Jimmy, you seemed like, not to rain on your parade, you had a great night, but you seemed like you gassed yourself out a little bit, you punched yourself out a little bit. What was going through your mind there during that moment when you were popping Nam with all of those shots and you weren't putting him away, but were you thinking, I got to calm down here and save myself?
I was wondering what it takes to put Nam Fan away. I was giving him, all I could, and all that went through my head was watching the Brock Lesnar versus Shane Carwin fight, and the last thing I wanted to do was gas out and have Nam get top position or possibly end the fight. So I knew I was trying to finish it, keep going forward, but at the same time trying to keep a little bit in the gas tank just in case. Thank you.
Donald, were you surprised that Nate Diaz said some kind words to you after the fight?
No, I think him and I both, it's a show, man. This is what we do. We talk shit, and he goes in there and backs it up, and afterwards it's like, hey, man, that was a good fight. And he apologized for the hat thing, and to me that wasn't even a big deal, that was just like hyping up the fight, and there's nothing more you could ask from the guy. He came out there and did everything he said he was going to do, and afterwards he said, well, good job. My hat's off to him as well.
This question is for Dana over here. I know that in the beginning of the week, you were a little upset with Nate and how the shoving match and stuff like that. Now that they've kind of made amends to each other, do you feel that that's something that's good for the sport as far as the hype and doing that, or do you feel that it's kind of what Donald said, it is what it is, and he's a good guy and stuff like that? Do you
I
feel
wasn't upset. When you have two guys that, that are the way that these two guys are, they're nasty, man. These guys are fighters. We talk about the word fighter and what it means to be a fighter. These two guys sitting up here are it, and they went in there and they proved that tonight. When you get in these positions, first of all, I'm not standing there to get in all the photos. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there because when guys don't like each other, and when you never know what's going to happen, but in the heat of the moment, shit does happen, and that's why I'm standing there, to make sure that these guys don't touch each other. I'm actually very happy that he hit his hat and not him. Hats I can live with. But it is what it is. Like I said, this is the fight business. And the unique thing about mixed martial arts is all these guys have respect for each other, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes shit happens, and it did. And it is what it is. I'm thrilled with the way that they handled it after.
And
I don't think it's a bad thing. It happens sometimes.
A question for Nate. Nate, your stand-up was excellent tonight. And was that something that you came in the beginning of the game plan with Donald? And Donald's got good striking as well. So did you work with that with your brother, with Nick? Is that something that you, in your fight camp, that you worked with right off the bat?
I had a really good boxing coach for the last, I think, 6-7 years, Richard Perez, and I've been working out with him and non-stop. I try to take a couple days off, and he's calling me and texting me, where are you at? And we go to spar with people all over in the Bay Area, Sacramento, wherever we can get some pro sparring. And I work with as much kickboxers as I can, and Nick's there to help coach me and spar with me and tell me what I'm doing wrong. And then I got Gilbert and different styles coming at me all the time that we're working with. So I just train really hard in every position. After fights, I'll be home I'll probably take tomorrow and the day after off, but I'm gonna get back to work. I'm always trying to improve everywhere. So whether I'm standing or on the ground, I just try to be ready for whatever's gonna happen. Because anything could happen in there. I was even thinking maybe, with all the stuff he was telling about how he's going to knock me down and knock me out and kick me and all this, I know they train with Greg Jackson's, and they have real smart game plans to come out and take you out of your game. So I was thinking maybe he was going to try to take me down. So I just try to stay ready for everything and work as hard as I can.
Were you surprised by that, Donald, that he came out and wanted to stand with you rather than take you down?
No, I think he's the one who said, don't be doing any of that gay wrestling shit, and I said, okay.
I don't try to come off bad either, like the hat thing and the press. Everybody was trying to get us real worked up, he's saying this, he's saying that. I try not to say anything, because anything can, no matter how hard or better I am than somebody, or worse, fight day you could get out there and get slept, knocked down, whatever. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen. So I just try to say I'm going to go out there and work hard, and we're going to have to see what happens fight day. And everybody was coming up to me like, oh, you guys both talk a lot of crap. And I'm like, maybe if I'm fighting, if that's what's happening, that's a sacrifice I'm willing to take, because I'll be the one talking. I'm going to be the one getting knocked out over it. But you're not going to catch me talking bad about somebody. I'm going to knock them out. I'm going to tap them out. I just don't work that way, I just go out there and I train my hardest, and I go out there and try to make it happen. But I heard that they were getting him all worked up too, I think, and he was probably saying that I was saying stuff, so he was saying what he was going to do to me. So that's what the whole thing at the press conference. I just want to apologize. I didn't want to come off as a bad guy, but that's just how it might have seemed, and I just train hard. I come out to fight.
Dana, I have a question for you. First of all, is there a reason?
He's getting stitches.
Stitches.
Yeah. Brock's not coming, and he's getting stitches.
All right.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel when your employees like Cowboy was and obviously Nate say that they really just want to get back in there and scrap? This is what they do. How does that make you feel as an
I
employee?
told you, these guys are fighters. These guys are the real deal. That's why I was so excited for this fight. That's the fight that I was excited for. I was really excited for the Cerrone-Diaz fight. And, you know, all the stuff that Nate just said about talking, going back and forth, I mean, these two are fighters, man. And I said, if the Diaz-Cerrone fight sucks, I'll kill myself. I can't even imagine that fight's going to suck, and it didn't. It lived up to the hype, because there's so many fights that you look at guys and you look at their styles, and guys who've talked smack to each other the whole time, and then they go out and, you know, it's not the fight you thought it was going to be. That was exactly the fight that I thought it was going to be. They went out and both went toe-to-toe, and you know, it's one of those situations where there's always going to be a winner and a loser, but you end up respecting both guys because of who they are and how they do it.
Speaking of fights going the way you expected, did you see Jimmy's fight going that way with Nam?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, tonight's the first night that I really noticed this kid, and it's pretty awesome to see a jiu-jitsu kid who punches and you know, when something doesn't work, he moves somewhere else. This is when I was. You guys have heard me talk a lot about the new breed that's coming up and how they train differently and how they're. There you go. There's one of them right there. That kid is nasty. I love watching him fight. Tonight was fun to watch him perform. And once he gets more comfortable here and starts to feel like this is really his home and this is his place, that kid's going to be putting on some shows.
Jimmy, first of all, I think you're a sandbag and purple belt, first of all. Great jiu-jitsu tonight. Is that how you saw the fight going? You were very aggressive in the opening minutes of the first round. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it earlier, how you maybe faded a little bit towards the end. But is this how you saw that fight going?
You know, anytime someone watches Nam fans' older fights, you know, we were preparing for a 3-round war. And, you know, I haven't been past the second round, but, you know, I've been training 5-minute rounds with just 205ers, you know, heavyweights, 170-pounders, just so I would get that fatigue feeling, and it definitely paid off today. The one thing about Nam is I knew I had to keep him on the defensive, because if I slept on him for any 1 second, you know, with that right hand could have put me to sleep.
Cool. Right here in front. Nate, question for you. You know, obviously, you know, Johnny Hendricks had a nice night tonight, got to finish his fight really fast and walk out with a nice bonus. You were in a war. Is there any part of you that kind of likes a war, though? Do you know what I mean? Is that a more fun fight for you to go through what you did tonight?
I don't like getting hit. But, you know, that's just what happened. You know, I train hard, and I'm training in wars all year round. I got Gilbert Melendez, and me and that guy have been having wars 5-minute rounds since I was 15 years old, and vice versa with Nick, Jake, all of us, and then many other people. My boys, the Douglas brothers, my boys, all on my team are so good, and I just want to get a fight done, but I train hard. So, and like he said, there's all the talk and all the hype that they put behind the fight, that he was gonna die if the fight didn't go the way he planned. We have no choice, you know. I train hard, and sometimes I'll be like, I didn't get the right training for this fight. I'm gonna look like shit. I'm gonna suck, and I'm not gonna do well. But I just had sucky training with my training partners who are really good. So.
I just mean too in terms of the weight. Sometimes you kind of egg him on a little bit and do a little playing in there.
Well, yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm there to fight, and if you're not taking me out, keep trying, you know.
And Dana, for you, obviously, yeah, you are kind of in a pretty chill mood right now. So is that because of Brock retiring? Are you disappointed? Or, I mean, you know.
No, I don't ever.
All right.
When a guy decides he wants to retire, that's his thing, man. This isn't a game where you know what, maybe I'll play 2 more or 3 years of this, you know, go hit a ball with a stick and all that shit. This is the real deal, man. You don't half-ass this stuff. When you know it's over, it's over. You know, the hard part is when I think it's over and the other guy doesn't.
The guy doesn't. Yes, that is tough. That is tough. But so you're just kind of mellow because.
I'm not feeling too good right now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And lastly for you too, obviously this is putting a button on the year,
and the Fox deal was a big deal for the UFC. I'm just curious what you've made of 2011 for you personally, maybe, or for the organization in terms of what you've been able to achieve this year.
What was the question?
Just how big a year has it been for you and for the UFC in 2011? Now that this is, the end of it, the last fight of the year.
I think it was the biggest year in history for us. This was the big one. And now, if you look at all the hard work that we've done over the last 10 years, there's nothing compared to what we got coming up this next couple of years. So it's been a big year. It's been the best year ever, the biggest year for the sport and for this company, and I look forward to the next couple.
Question for Nate. Nate, you about a little over a year ago, you were going up to 170. You're having problems making 55, but the last couple fights you look great. And then tonight, third round, you seem to get more and more energy. So is it the gluten-free diet? I mean, what do you attribute to feeling good at 55 now?
Yeah, I do a gluten-free diet. I'm lighter nowadays. I have a big appetite, but I maintain my weight pretty well. I do triathlon a lot with my brother, and I got a couple teammates, Damian Gonzalez and Paul Demas, and we go out there and we go on long rides, and I kill a lot of calories throughout the day, and even on days off I do a lot of recovery workouts, so I make sure I'm in shape and staying light year round, because at a fight season I'm in triathlon season, and it helps keep my weight down, keeps me motivated for training, and it keeps me feeling good and makes me happy. So
okay.
Question for Jimmy, please. Jimmy, obviously some critics coming into this fight were saying, why is your fight on the main card, versus others? I'm curious if you heard any of that and if you took offense to it.
Actually, a lot of the stuff online was, why does that kid with no muscle mass get to be on TV? It's just a lot of people have negativity and like to, I just like to be around, positive people, and luckily the people I surround myself with, they know what I'm capable of, and there was never any doubt that I belonged there. Just had to show up to fight.
And I'm curious if you could just put the whole experience into words. I mean, 6 months ago you're fighting in rural Pennsylvania. Now you're on the year-end show in Vegas and putting a pretty one-sided performance on a veteran. Where's your mind right now?
I mean, it's a real surreal experience. I got to be in the same locker room as great fighters. I got to look over, see Alistair Overeem hitting pads, and getting a bear hug from Tito Ortiz after I won. Like little things like that, really make you appreciate all the hard work. So, it's what motivates me to get up even earlier next fight and train even harder.
And Dana, a quick question. The internet is abuzz here, wondering what retire under contract means for Brock Lesnar. Obviously, he can't come back and fight in another MMA organization, but should he want to wrestle again at some point in his career, is that something you would...
I don't know. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? The internet is a buzz. Mind your business. We'll figure it out.
It was really just Meltzer that wanted to know. And one final question for Cowboy, if I could. Obviously no shame in your performance tonight, but ultimately when you look back on it, all the trash talk, all the emotion, all the anger that you brought into this, was that a negative for you tonight, or did it help you, fuel you through this war?
It just came down to showing up, and I didn't show up. I don't think that there wasn't any anger, or it wasn't really like I'm gonna kill this dude for real. It's just like that's the game. You gotta play the game. And someday you show up to work, someday you don't. I felt flat-footed. Like I said, no excuses. He beat me. He took me out of my game, put me into his. So just gotta go back and figure out what I gotta do to make my game, enforce it, and shit.
And this question's for Ross Pearson.
What was that?
That wasn't me.
Set him up here.
Okay, Ross, how do you feel about your performance tonight, and what would you like to say to your fans in Sunderland?
I take some good things away from this performance. I've done a lot of things well. We've practiced in camp. It was my first fight at a new weight division. There was some things that I'm not pleased with, what I'm going to go back to camp and work on. I'm so self-critical of my own performances. It's not the performance that I wanted out of this fight. I wanted to come and make a statement in 145 division. I want people to know that I'm here in this division and I want to run at the title. Unfortunately tonight I didn't make that statement, but for the fight that I had and the game plan that Junior came into the fight, not taking anything away from it, but he didn't come to fight, as you know. His game plan was to do everything to stop me from fighting. It took us a round to get my rhythm and get me momentum going, but once I got that going, I felt fine. And just from everyone, from my fans back in Sunderland, I appreciate all your support. The support's overwhelming, and I thank all of you for everything.
Dana, Friday night fight, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first one. Is it an experiment or just the holidays that you do it? Would you do another Friday night fight? Are you happy with the way it turned out, business-wise, media-wise, gate-wise?
I'll let you know on Monday. But it was either do that or not stay in Vegas. We would have had to go somewhere else because you know, they shut the strip down here. You could have never pulled off this event on New Year's Eve. So we did it on Friday. I think yeah, all the signs are pointing toward it was a very successful night. Not to mention the fact that the people who do stay home tomorrow can watch the replay. So we'll see what happens.
Dana, down here in front. What were your thoughts on Jacob Volkmann's post-fight speech?
I didn't hear it, thank God. I didn't hear it. I heard it second hand, so he says some weird shit. And apparently he likes the government showing up at his house, knocking on the door.
A question for Donald. Donald, at the end of the fight, Nate came up to you and gave you his hat. What did he say to you, and what was your reaction to that?
Oh, he said, "Sorry for knocking your hat off. Here's mine." And I took it, I guess. Yeah, like I said, it was part of the game. You know, talking the shit and doing the things that you got to do to get yourself motivated for fight. When you're done, he stood there and went toe to toe. There's some respect in that. You got to look someone in the eyes, but goddamn, you would tell some bitch, and that's kind of what happened, you know.
And Nate, you came out to some boos, but towards the end of the fight, they were starting to chant Diaz. Can you give your thoughts on the fans' reaction to you and what you can do to change those boos to cheers?
I didn't even notice. I was just going to fight. I didn't hear too much. Maybe they didn't like Tupac. But that's what I'm coming out to, so whatever.
Question. Alistair, did the fight go the way you thought it would go?
Funny thing was I predicted it the evening before to my fiance. So she's not here right now, otherwise she would confirm that. But I said, first I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that, and I'm going to finish it with a liver kick. And yeah, I don't know if it's luck or if it's strategy, but it turned out that way, and I'm just happy that it did.
Second question, Dana, can you give us your assessment of Dong's performance?
What do you want to know?
I mean, were you surprised? Do you see him as an up-and-comer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I was very impressed. I mean, these anytime. First of all, I'm not feeling too good. You guys probably don't want to ask me any more questions. I'm really not feeling too good.
Okay.
Talk to these guys.
Alistair, over here. Congratulations on your victory. I know it was your first fight in the UFC. What did you make of the experience being in the UFC? And what are your thoughts on fighting Junior Dos Santos?
Well, I'm very excited to be fighting for the title. It's my goal, and it's at this point the highest achievable for every martial artist in the world, the UFC title. My experience of UFC, well, it's big, it's huge. I think it's like 100 times bigger than Strikeforce. It's K1 is big, but it's even a lot bigger than K1. So I was yeah, a little bit blown away. Still am, with all the fans, and when you walk in there, it's just crazy. But I love it, every second of it.
This is for Alistair. Were you surprised that he wasn't more aggressive with his wrestling, since that's, you know, pretty much was his one big shot at beating you, was if he could implement his wrestling game, and he kind of didn't really go for it that much?
Well, he haven't fought in a long time, so I think in the meantime he upgraded his game, and that is what every fighter should do. You need to upgrade your game, and he was getting a little bit unpredictable, only going for the takedown. So He upgraded his game. I was, like I said, ready for whatever he was going to throw at me. If he was going to throw strikes, I would be ready for it. If he would come for the takedown, I would be ready for it.
Alistair, do you think? Sorry, over here to your left. Do you think that? What's up? Do you think that you answered the questions of all your critics who may have said that you weren't facing top competition outside the UFC tonight? Are you satisfied with answering those questions?
I'm satisfied. Pretty satisfied.
I noticed Colin Lamb has no bruises on him. Did you forgive him for messing up all of those tests that drama, pre-fight drama you had to go through?
I think Colin has done a great job for me and the rest of the team. By the way, they're really. I had a lot of setbacks in the last 3-4 months. A lot of setbacks, but the team came together greatly, and I can forgive him that little slip up because he supported me in other ways greatly.
Alistair, right over here. Did you have any UFC Octagon jitters? Everybody kind of always talks about that, like their first fight. Usually, whenever they first fight in the UFC.
No, I can only say I was very motivated. I just wanted to get in there and show everybody, and I mean everybody was watching, the whole world. I got emails, messages, Facebooks, Twitters from all over the world, and I just wanted to show the world that I'm ready and that I'm coming.
Also, did you tend to respect Brock's size a little bit more, just because he's such a big guy and kind of his wrestling, and is that kind of going to be the same game plan against Junior Dos Santos?
Well, Junior Dos Santos is a very different fighter, so the game plan will be different, but both are very aggressive, and yeah, the thing is, I just like to be aggressive. I just like to be dominant. I don't like to be going backwards, waiting. Sometimes you have to, but I prefer just to go in there and beat the other opponent up.
Alistair, over here on your left. When you were in the first round, did you get the sense at all that Brock was timid when dealing with any of your strikes?
After one knee, yes.
Brother. Alistair, hi. I was just going to ask here that you left your former training camp with Golden Glory, and then you went to Extreme de Couture to prepare for this fight. When you go to prepare for the Junior Dos Santos fight, where do you have in mind to maybe start training or set up camp?
That is undetermined yet.
Okay.
Alistair, obviously you finished him with kind of a liver kick like you said you predicted, but I think you just mentioned, you said you could feel him not react well to your knees the first time you threw onto his body. Can you just talk about how could you tell he wasn't responding well to that?
Because after that he didn't come for the takedown as he would. After that we would come in the clinch and he would disengage. And usually Brock is a guy that just comes straight through you forward, but he was not doing that. So then I knew the knees bother him.
Also wanted to ask you, leading up to this fight, you said you were a big Brock fan. You always got up and watched his fights. Obviously, afterwards, he announced his retirement. I saw you say something to him. What did you say to him, and what are your thoughts on him walking away from MMA?
Well, my thoughts on him walking away, I think he shouldn't walk away because love him or hate him, but it's always something when Brock's fighting, like Dana said. And I mean, he's a guy who goes for it. I think he achieved a lot in a short span, and yeah, it should be a shame if he stops now. I think there's still more to gain for him.
Dana, sorry to ask you more questions when you're not feeling well, but what can you give us more about your interaction with Brock? He said that his ribs hurt. I mean, was there any other kind of feeling you got from him, whether or not how disappointed he was that he's leaving the sport or anything else?
No, he didn't say that. He thought his ribs were broken, or rib was broken, or whatever. And no, he said, I'm done. I told my wife I'd if I won this one, I'd fight for the title, and then retire with the title, and if not, that tonight was the last night. And like I said, I don't argue with guys. They know when they want to retire. That's their decision.
But now in hindsight, and you look back on this week, was there any kind of telltale signs that maybe he was thinking of hanging up, or absolutely
Nothing
not?
at all. Nope. Nope.
Alistair, congratulations right here in the front.
When you said earlier that you told your fiance that, was it something that you saw on tape that you felt like you could take advantage of when you made the comment about you called your shots, so to speak?
It just came up to me. It's weird, I know. I'm not usually the guy who believes in aliens and UFOs, but or superstitious stuff. But I just say, tomorrow I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. The third thing being a liver kick, and no, just turned out that way.
In your career, you've landed a lot of great shots, great punches and kicks and whatnot. But that particular kick, was that like kind of the home run of all the shots you've landed, because it seemed like it was the perfect shot at the perfect place at the perfect time? And just wondered if that particular one might have been your best that you had.
Well, I've had a couple of other nice shots. On other.
Which one? What compares to that?
Well, then in other leagues, like in the K1, when I beat Badahari, he was the K1 champion. I was coming from mixed martial arts, and nobody expected me to beat him, and I knocked him out with a beautiful left hook. First I knocked him down with a left knee and a left hook. Nobody expected that, so that was one of my moments. What else? We're talking about shots, right? I had a really nice liver kick, the same one actually on Saki. What else? On Strikeforce I had a really nice one against Brett Rogers. Submissions, Vitor Belfort, the first time I beat him. So I've had my nice strikes.
Alistair, right in front of you. Hi. Were you surprised how easy you were able to fend off his takedown attempts? I think he tried twice.
Like I said, I get my confidence from training. Training was, despite all the distractions, going good. Guys couldn't take me down, so I felt good. I felt confident. Even though Brock is still a very big, strong guy, I felt like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to beat him up.
It appeared as though you weren't too afraid of his stand-up game. How long did it take for you guys into the fight where you realized that you had a real superior advantage?
Well, the thing is, Brock actually cut me with his first jab. So that was a little bit, I had blood coming in my eye. I couldn't see in my right eye. So I had to adjust a little bit, but that also made me put more pressure, because I didn't know how severe the cut was. I didn't know maybe there's going to be a medical intervention. So then I knew I need to finish this fight before we get there, and that's made me step my game up.
And there was a report that came out earlier today that the Nevada State Athletic Commission was going to hold your purse because of the situation with Golden Glory. I was wondering if you could touch on that.
I didn't know about that.
You're just finding out right now?
Yep.
Do you have any comments on that?
No comments.
For Alistair over here, to your left. Did he hurt you at any point in the fight?
Well, like I said, he threw a first jab, and he cut me. And I felt drops of blood in my eye. And then like 10 seconds later, I couldn't see from my right eye. And then I knew, oh, I'm cut. So I gotta take it easy and not get some more shots. But other than that, he didn't hurt me.
It seemed like when people were talking about this fight, a lot of people thought that if you could stuff his early shots, that he would get frazzled and really sort of, that would be your opening to do what you wanted. Was that your take on the fight as well? If you could stop his early onslaught, that it would be your fight to lose?
Well, the thing is, I didn't know what he was going to do. Usually Brock always comes in full force and he rushes. But you always, like I didn't watch any tapes of him prior to the fight, because I didn't want to have my mindset that he's going to come like a bull. And he didn't, so...
And just looking ahead to the Dos Santos fight, obviously you said you had stitches, but overall, I mean, in a perfect world, when would you like this fight to happen?
Well, first I'd like to have a nice long holiday and arrange some stuff, get my stuff in order, because there's still some work to do. And I don't know, maybe before the summer or in the summer, 2012.
And finally, you said before that he's one of, if not the best boxers in the heavyweight division. Obviously, you pride yourself on your striking and your kickboxing background. Is this a dream matchup for you to go against the guy who you consider to be the best boxer, and then you can thus prove once and for all that you are the best heavyweight striker in the world?
I think for everybody. I think everybody's excited for this fight. And so am I.
Congrats.
Alistair is right here. Do you think that there's something special about Dutch fighters and Dutch preparation for fighting that maybe we don't see enough of in the UFC right now, and that you could especially bring to it?
Well, I think I'm kind of unique because there's not a lot of there's not like 20 Alistairs walking around in Holland. But what Holland is known for is the kickboxing, the striking, the stand-up. But then still, in Holland we don't have the wrestling. Well, fortunate enough, I was very young when I started to do both. I was 15 when my brother took me to the gym, and I didn't like it at all because I got beat up. I was small, weak, no technique. But yeah, I just hung in there and kept doing it, and now we're 16 years later, and now I can do both.
Yeah, I was curious if you introduced your brother to the guys at the UFC. Valentin.
Yeah, he's
we know him.
I know, that's what I'm asking, if they met him yet. You guys
No, but usually people in Holland, they don't do both. They're only kickboxing, and then there's a small group that does wrestling. But I was lucky enough to start both, and thanks to my brother, he took me. And I just basically went up in his footsteps because he was training both and fighting already in Rings Japan, and that was what I wanted. That was my dream, so I just kept on doing both.
Congrats.
Alistair, in the beginning of the fight, it looked like you were kind of measuring Brock out. How would that differ going into a fight with Dos Santos and him being primarily a striker?
Well, it always differs. It depends on the opponent. Some opponents they're aggressive. Some opponents are patient. Some opponents, so that's more a strategic thing. You always have to assess a little bit. Okay, what's going to work in this guy? And Brock is a guy who comes, but you don't want to just rush in there and get taken out, because then he can get in his game. So you always have to feel it out a little bit, and yeah, but it depends, because I've I've also had fights that I do go for the kill melee and that I do rush. So for this fight, it was just like, okay, let's see a little bit what he's going to do.
Alistair, I know it's very late in Europe, but given the situation with your mom, did you have a chance to talk to her at all today to kind of, wish her well and to discuss your fight at all?
Well, we texted earlier, but yeah, I think my mother's sleeping now. She doesn't watch the fights live. She's too nervous for that. But
because you knew you couldn't be distracted?
I don't know. Like I said, I have a wonderful team that supports me, and that has supported me greatly through these times, and that just kept the focus on what was important, and that was just focus on just relaxing, keeping the mind on the fight, and not think about these things.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good night.